Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com. And by Hog Island Audubon Camp. For full camp schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to our show number 1030, featuring Mike and Mike. Mike Azevedo, who will tell us about the efforts of the California Bluebird Recovery Program. And our own Mike O'Connor will talk to us about another topic, which I can't seem to remember right at the moment, but I'll think of it. Also today, we'll have a chance to learn a little something about the marvelous marsh wren. And we have two audio postcards, one with sweet spring sightings from Florida, and starting with one about an amazing achievement.
Hello, it's Diane from Chicago. I'm here in Mapastepec in the state of Chiapas, Mexico, where I have just seen my 4,000th species of bird, a pair of beautiful yellow-naped parrots. What a morning.
Thank you, Diane, and congratulations on that life list of 4,000 species. We'll be hearing more from Diane in an upcoming show. Meanwhile, some birds on the move and some nice news from Kathy Rigling in Central Florida.
Good morning, Talking Birds listeners. I'm here at one of my favorite local parks, listening to the early signs of spring. Today, I'm hearing my first of the year red-eyed vireo, and it's just singing away up in the treetops. I also, in the distance, hear the call of the limpkin. There's a tufted titmouse singing. There have been cardinals, northern parula, some red-bellied woodpeckers. It's just a beautiful spring morning in March. This is Kathy Rigling, one of the Talking Birds ambassadors, wishing everyone happy birding and happy almost spring.
Happy almost spring to you, Kathy. Thank you for that audio postcard and, of course, for being a Talking Birds ambassador. We love getting audio postcards, and we know folks love hearing them. So send us one if you can. Just grab your smartphone or other digital recording device and just describe what you're seeing or hearing for maybe 30 seconds or a minute, and then send the file to this address, ray@talkingbirds.com. That's ray@talkingbirds.com. Meanwhile,
Extra, read all about it.
Yes, Jimmy the newsboy is back with us after a lengthy absence to help call attention to what's shaken on our Talking Birds website and our Facebook page, including a link to an owl cam at the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center in Texas. The surprising story of partners in flight and why the National Wildlife Refuge System needs our help. Some of what we hope you'll find worthwhile right now on our Facebook page and website at talkingbirds.com. That sweet sound is our mystery bird. We preview the show, or we preview the contest, that is, early in the show here. That way we hope to have calls coming in before the show ends. And so we can conduct our contest. We'll give the signal for the actual conducting of the concert a little bit of the contest a little bit later. But here are some clues. Our large fish-eating mystery bird, the size of a large gull, sports a black cap, a white body, and a large coral red bill, sometimes tipped in black. Our bird breeds around the Great Lakes and much of Canada, as well as in scattered locations in the U.S. West. It feeds mostly on fish, which it captures by plunge diving along coasts, lakes and rivers, and sometimes over open ocean. A little bit about our mystery bird, and beautiful prizes await, including the Brome Mega 600 feeder. Your neighbors will be so envious when you have this feeder with an extra large tube that holds nearly 2.5 pounds of seed. It's easy to clean. It's chew-proof. By squirrels, that is. It includes the Brome seed ventilation system to keep the seed cool and dry. Plus, from our friends at Bird Collective, a $25 gift certificate for their beautiful vintage-inspired apparel and unique accessories, all featuring birds. Prizes on our Mystery Bird contest, the actual thing, coming along a little bit later. I want to get you ready for it right now. And here's a salute to another of the Talking Birds listeners who has stepped up to the level of Talking Birds ambassador, meaning he's going to help us spread the word about our show and about birds and conservation. We'll explain how to do it in a moment. It's Mark Clausa from New Boston, Michigan. Mark says, here in southeast Michigan, I'm fortunate enough to have 3 large Huron-Clinton metro parks in one of the largest man-made wetlands in the country, Crosswinds Marsh. So there's an abundance of birding opportunities nearby. Out on the trails, I frequently come across people who are interested in birding, so I'm happy to pass along information about your podcast. Thank you, Mark. And Talking Birds listeners, we'd like to invite you to join Mark and become a Talking Birds ambassador. Just go to talkingbirds.com. You'll see the Get Involved tab up at the top of the page. Click on that, and the rest will be history. Very easy to do. That's the Get Involved tab at talkingbirds.com. Still to come today, we'll talk with Mike Azevedo about the efforts of a wonderful organization dedicated to the conservation of cavity nesters, especially bluebirds. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for Let's Ask Mike segment live. And I did remember what he's going to be talking about. Birds that we love and some maybe love to hate, grackles and blackbirds arriving for the spring. See what I mean? And up next, getting back to the marsh concept again, we head for the nearest cattail marsh to meet this week's featured feathered friend.
Today's featured feathered friend, the marsh wren, presents itself in a most athletic and assertive manner, tail cocked up, clinging to stalks of wetland reeds, often with each foot on a different stem, and sounding off with a series of loud trills. They can be hard to spot as they call from deep in the reeds, except when males pop up to sing in plain sight, especially early in the breeding season. Displaying males also make brief flights above the marsh reeds before dropping back out of sight. Male and female marsh wrens show similar coloration, rusty brown above with black and white streaking on the back and paler, unstreaked underparts, although males are larger. And eastern populations tend to be more brightly colored than their western counterparts. Marsh wrens are doing well. Draining and filling of marshes present a potential threat, but marsh wren populations increased by 130% between 1966 and 2015, and they're rated a 7 out of 20 on the Continental Concern Score, which makes them a species of low conservation concern. The athletic, assertive, tail-cocking marsh wren, Cystothoris palustris. Today's Talking Birds, featured feathered friend. Welcome again to our show, number 1030. Well, Mike Azevedo has been a science camp naturalist, park ranger, and merit badge counselor for nature-related merit badges for a number of years. Since 2009, he's been the Santa Clara County coordinator for the California Bluebird Recovery Program, and he is now the program's co-program director. He joins us now to tell us a bit about this wonderful program. Good morning, Mike. Hello, Mike. It is a wonderful program, whether he tells us about it or not, but I guess he's not hearing us right now for some reason. What do you think, Tim? Are we going to have to go to our backup plan
We always have a plan B around here. We try to, but we'll get a hold of Mike here in just moments, I'm sure. I wish we had a video so that we could see Tim and his frantic efforts to make this call connect. But in the meantime, we'll remind you about our Mystery Bird contest, maybe that's coming up here. That's in a little bit from now. We'll also remind you about our Talking Birds flock. We talked about that last week, and we'll talk about it more. But right now, we want to talk to Mike, because I think we are connected with him. Let's see. Good morning,
Yes.
Mike. Yes.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm glad we do have you. Well, Mike, the program that you're involved with, the California Bluebird Recovery Program, if I'm correct, started back in 1994. I wonder if you'd give us an interview about why a program like this became necessary and what the goals are.
Well, bluebirds in general, it was right around, I'd say, back in the way I always put it, because I give a lot of talks to garden clubs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I point out that probably back in the 40s, people would be walking to school, and they'd see the bluebird flitting around in the field, and it just made them happy, right? It's the bluebird of happiness for a reason. And then around the 1960s, those same people that had been walking and seeing those bluebirds, they noticed that in the very same fields, the bluebirds weren't there anymore. Yeah. And so they decided that they tried to figure out what the problem was. And the problem is that we humans are afraid of trees falling. And those trees that have the woodpecker holes and the fissures running up the middle, the heartwood of the tree is rotted out. Those trees are in danger of coming down on people or property. And so people start removing them. And that actually has removed their nesting opportunities. Mm-hmm. So over in the East Coast, the movement was there to bring in nest boxes. And then over here, we had a man named Don Yoder who was building a house around the 1970s. And he needed to clear the land, so he removed a tree, and it had an active bluebird nest that he didn't even know about until the tree came down. And he felt that it was unfair, that he was getting a brand new house and the bluebirds were being evicted. So he decided to do something about it, and he created the California Bluebird Recovery Program, a statewide organization, in order to try and help people understand how to use nest boxes. And so that's what we're here for now. So we're here to evaluate habitat, to be able to go into an area and say, this is what kind of cavity nesting bird might end up using your nest box, and to tell you where in your yard you'd want to put a nest box, or and here's another thing. A lot of people live in apartments. They cannot actually, they don't have a backyard to put a nest box in, and they think that they're out of the game. They think that they're not able to. Well, the truth is that down the street is a schoolyard or a park or a cemetery, and they should be able to go and find the people that manage that land and ask them, hey, can I put in a nest box or 2 or 5? And I'll check it. Now, this is the one thing is when you put up a nest box, you don't want to abandon it. You want to check it every week. To know what's going on during the nesting season, and if you can do that, then you can keep aware of the cycle, and you know where what should happen when you go back. You saw eggs last week. This week you're going to see eggs, or maybe you'll see chicks. And when you go and you don't find anything, then you'll know that something bad has happened, and that's important. And that's all a matter of how to be trained to be a nest box monitor. So we have the mountain bluebird and the western bluebird here in California. Over there, in the east, you have the eastern bluebird. But here in California, we also have a couple of wrens, a couple of nuthatches, a couple of chickadees, oak titmouse, tree swallow, violet green swallow, astral flycatcher. All of these birds use nest boxes, along with the western purple martin, which actually deserves its own 7-minute segment. And then, of course, there are larger birds like the barn owl, the western screech owl, northern saw-whet owl, American kestrel, wood duck, northern flicker. These are all cavity nesting birds. and all of them are great to have around. They really help humans, and they pay our bills, as I say. And even some woodpeckers sometimes end up in our nest boxes. So that's what we do. We have nest box monitors. We have people that go do community tabling, and we have coordinators that are able to do that habitat evaluation, like I said.
You have on your website the quote, "Join us in making a difference." So as you're kind of indicating there, looking for more volunteers. How do folks do that? How do they join up with you?
Well, and I know that you're a national podcast, so obviously we have a website, cbrp.org, for California Bluebird Recovery Program, and you can go there. We have a lot of videos on there, training, including a 2-hour. It's a 2-part, but it's a 1 hour and 1 hour, so it's a 2-hour training on how to be a nest box monitor. So you can imagine it's kind of thorough. There's a lot of information to know about where to put the nest box and stuff like that. But in addition, if you go to a website called Sialis.org, and that's SIALIS.org, that is run by a friend of mine over in Connecticut. And what she did was she gathered all of the information on how to be a nest box monitor, and she put it all there. So if you have any questions about how to do it, all your questions, you something's attacked your nest box, what could it be, that kind of thing. She's got all this information on how to do it. And one of the things she has is a list of statewide organizations, and even some counties by state, of what organizations are out there to help you. So there is the North American Bluebird Society, but there are also Bluebird societies in Maryland and Tennessee and Texas and a whole host of different states. And she's got them all listed. So you can find out where is the closest nest box, the closest Bluebird organization there.
All right.
And so that's a way to get involved.
All right. Let me give that address again. It's sialis.org, SIALIS.org. And not to confuse things, but I want to give your website again as well, Mike, and that is CBRP. That stands for California Bluebird Recovery Program. So it's CBRP.org with lots of great stuff on there. Mike Azevedo is CBRP's program or co-program director. Mike, thanks for telling us about the program and the great work you're doing, and thanks for being with us.
Absolutely.
Mike Azevedo here on Talking Birds, and up next, it's our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute. Maybe slightly more than 1 minute. A minute and 10 seconds, maybe? Audubon Camp has welcomed enthusiasts 1936. It's a program of the Institute and the night sessions for adult families, naturalists, artists, deepen their and the ecosystems around the islands in camps. Camp season together. Fall migrate safe space for connect with nature, learning ways to foster environment in the Hog Island Audubon Camp has welcomed nature enthusiasts to its shores since 1936. It's a program of the Seabird Institute, and the island hosts 5-night sessions for adults, teens, and families taught by the world's leading naturalists, ornithologists, and artists. Hog Island campers deepen their relationships with the birds and the ecosystems around them during the island's immersive educational camps. New for the 2025 camp season is Let's Go Birding Together. Scheduled during peak fall migration, this session is a safe space for queer birders to connect with nature and each other while learning ways to foster a similar environment in their community's home. For full Hog Island schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org. There he is again. Or maybe it's she. I'm not sure about that. It's our mystery bird. That much we know. A large fish-eating mystery bird, size of a large gull, sporting a black cap, a white body, and a large coral red bill, sometimes tipped in black. Our bird breeds around the Great Lakes, much of Canada, as well as in scattered locations in the U.S. West. It feeds mostly on fish, which it captures by plunge diving along coasts, lakes, and rivers, sometimes over open ocean. What is that bird is the question here, and that's why it's our mystery bird in our Mystery Bird contest. And here is the all-important phone number, which we urge you to call as soon as possible if you'd like to take a guess or tell us what that bird is. 781-837-4900 is the number. That's 781-837-4900. If you're not sure, well, take a guess, because the drawing will determine our winner if no one gets the right answer. 781-837-4900. Spectacular prizes await, including the Brome Mega 600 feeder and the $25 gift certificate for Bird Collective on our Mystery Bird contest. Here's that number one more time, 781-837-4900. Mike O'Connor is standing by for Let's Ask Mike Live. Let's Ask Mike Live in just 1 minute.
The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com.
Well, grackles, whether they're common grackles or great-tailed grackles or boat-tailed grackles, are among my favorite birds, and I know not everybody agrees with that assessment of grackles or other black birds and blackbirds for that matter, but I think Mike O'Connor is on the same page with me. Let's find out about that. Good morning, Mike.
No, good morning. You're right. I like these birds. They eat a lot of bird seed. So that's enough. I didn't even thought of that reason, but you would think of that reason, yes. But they're also beautiful, interesting birds, no? They are, but they, it's funny, they seem to have a different wintering habitat than they do in the breeding habitat. So the birds are returning to their breeding habitat throughout the country, and a lot of people forget about that. And all of a sudden, these flocks of grackles and blackbirds appear, and it's like they've never seen them before, like it's a new species, and they start wigging out. They're eating out the words you hear, they're scaring away all the good birds. They're chasing the little birds. They don't do that, but they do dominate a feeder. So people ask me, what can you do about controlling them at your feeder? And here's a couple of suggestions. The cheapest and easiest thing to switch to whatever bird seed they're eating, try safflower seed. Safflower seed, not to be confused with sunflowers, is a small white seed that a lot of times the bigger birds don't like. I find that about 50% effective. Well, 50% of my customers say that works perfectly. Other people say it doesn't work at all. It's never worked for me, but other people buy 100 pounds at a time because it works great. The other thing you can do is some of these feeders have adjustable weight on the perches, so you can kind of make them so they close down easier than in other times. So when a heavy bird gets on it, it shuts down the food seed like they do on a squirrel-proof feeder. Again, I find that okay, because sometimes the birds adapt. They flap their wings, and that annoys customers. And they flap their wings, and they still eat. What I find the most effective are these cage feeders. It's a feeder that inside is an actual regular feeder inside a kind of a wire cage. The wire is about 1.5 inches square, so the little birds go in and out. And it's important to make sure that the feeder is well inside the cage, usually like 3.5, 4 inches, so the big birds can't reach through. And I find that tremendously effective. It keeps out the gray squirrels and keeps out the larger birds, but you get plenty of chickadees, titmice, nuthatches, finches moving in and out. The downside here, and this is like a game changer for a lot of people, the big birds can't get in, including cardinals. And when I tell people cardinals can't get in, they get mad at me for some reason. They get, their face drops like they just found out something bad about Santa Claus, and they don't. But I use it, and I use them, and the cardinals eat off the ground, and everybody's happy. But that doesn't work for everybody. It's like telling people that dog can't go on the furniture. Wait a minute. They get all worked up over it. But I would say of all the things, you get yourself a cage feeder or make your own cage, keep your feeder in there, and then the grackles and the red wings and the starlings and all the things that annoy people in the spring won't be much of a problem anymore. That's what I say.
All right, here he is, the always solutions-oriented Mike O'Connor. And let's ask Mike, and there's not a thing about Santa Claus. There's no bad news there, right?
No. That was just a bad example.
Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. I'll do it later.
Mike will be back with us next week. And meanwhile, we're back to the Mystery Bird contest, trying to identify this mystery bird. Now, we have a couple calling in on our Mystery Bird contest. A few weeks ago, we had a whole group calling in from Michigan. Today we have Brian and Heidi from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to be precise. Good morning, Brian and Heidi.
Oh, no, that's the Milwaukee area. I mistyped, sorry.
Oh, the Milwaukee area.
They didn't want to give me that exact town, but that's
sorry.
okay.
Okay, the Milwaukee area.
It's Wauwatosa.
Okay. All right, they're proudly declaring Wauwatosa. All right. Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. All right, Brian and Heidi, who's the spokesperson there, or are you taking turns?
I guess I'm the spokesperson.
Okay, that sounds like, is that Brian speaking there?
Yes, it is.
All right. So, Brian, what do you think, or what do you and Heidi think about the mystery bird there?
We think it's the Caspian tern.
The Caspian tern, and we think it's the Caspian tern. We all think.
Yes, correct!
Tim thinks it's the Caspian tern. Boy, that makes it pretty universal. Awesome. The Caspian tern is exactly correct. Well, would you like to try a bonus question, Brian and Heidi?
Sure.
Okay, This is for a feather-friendly kit to protect your windows from crashing birds, or protecting the birds, actually, from crashing into the windows. So this is not a bird question. Often on our bonus question, we do something different. We're kind of electric vehicle fans around here, an important part of the movement away from fossil fuels. They're very popular, EVs are, in the northern European country of Norway. But just how popular are they? That is our question. According to the latest figures, pure electric vehicles, battery-powered, not hybrids, represented what percentage of all new car sales in that chilly country of Norway? What percentage? Is it A, 22%, B, 56%, or C, 94% in Norway, new car purchases? What do you think, Brian, Heidi?
All right. I believe it's very high. Yeah. So I think it's 94%.
94%. That is really, yes. 94%. That's the latest figures from October. Battery-powered electric vehicles took a 94% of sales of all new cars. And if you include hybrids, that goes up to 96%. And that's up from 91% last year. It's pretty spectacular. So fossil fuels in Norway now represent less than 5% of all new car sales. This might be surprising. The best-selling battery electric vehicle in Norway is the Skoda Enyaq from the Czech Republic. So that's pretty.
I have never heard of that one.
Yeah, the Skoda has been around for a long time as a gasoline car. Oh, I just noticed Tim is reminding we are out of time. Thanks so much, Brian and Heidi, and thanks everybody for listening. See you next week.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty. Their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com. And by Hog Island Audubon Camp. For full camp schedule, program details, and to register, visit hogisland.audubon.org.